Hey, let me know if this sounds familiar. You're about to go on a family vacation and you decide you're going to do a little bit of fishing on a place you've never been before while you're on the family vacation. Or maybe your club tournament has their year-end championship, and for whatever reason, the club president decides to go to a lake that ain't nobody ever fished before. So now, when you go fish that lake that you've never been to before, you put your boat in the water, you get ready to go fishing, you don't know which way to go, which way is the dam, which way is the river, if it gets dirty, what kind of species it's got in it, you don't know what to throw, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do. So what you gonna do next, Bobby, when you got that situation staring you down the throat? Feels like you staring down the throat of a zero, right? Okay, I need to tell you, when you face that, it's easy. It's actually not that hard. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I'm gonna set the camera down so I'm not shaking so much. I'm gonna show you exactly how professional fishermen break down a place they've never been to before. That's what I'm gonna show you right here in this video. Now, what I'm about to show you is a clip from a lake breakdown session that I just did on my Straight Up Fishing app. I had a fall fishing academy, and one of the classes was I took a lake from one of my subscribers that I've never seen before, and I showed the process of how you break down a lake that you've never seen before. When you listen to this, you're probably gonna think that's too easy, that's too simple to be true, but I promise you it works. Okay, I need you to trust me. If there's anything that I've ever taught you on this YouTube channel, if there's anything that I've ever taught you that's been true, is this one thing. If I get you to believe this, just promise me that you will believe and trust me on this one statement. There is a process that you can follow that will get you through any situation. I'm not telling you you're gonna go win the Bassmaster Classic, but I'm gonna tell you that there's a process that you can follow to help you catch fish and at least have enjoyable trips so you don't feel like you're wasting your time. Me giving you a bait and saying, hey man, if you go through this spinnerbait right here on laydowns in the back of Waxahachie Creek in that left bend turn right there below Paleo Point where the buffaloes used to jump down, if I tell you that and you go do it, it may work once. But what happens when you got to go back home, or when you're faced with a different situation, or maybe the lake's low from when I went, or the lake's high, or maybe there's another boat on that area. Since you didn't build a process to figure out why those fish are there, and now you're stuck if that doesn't work. So if I tell you waypoints, if I tell you lures, that's really only going to get you so far. It ain't going to get you where you think it's going to get you. The way that you can consistently catch more fish more often is actually through developing a process to catch fish. In this video right here, I'm going to share with you my process of how I break down new water. If this is something you struggle with more often than not, I want to invite for you to come and join the app. Come in. This is what we do, is talk about processes that help you catch fish, not baits. That's only going to get you so far. Join the app. Get inside the app and learn the processes that's helping a lot of other guys just like you catch more fish. There is a very detailed process that you can follow that I've learned over years of fishing to help me break down a lake, to help me break down even something as simple as a river when I go kayak fishing or pond fishing. Listen, I can tell you about this because not only am I a tournament fisherman, but also when I make YouTube videos, even when I'm filming a show, I use the same exact process to catch fish. Those fish just don't jump in the boat because you want to film something. The weather just doesn't act right because you want to make a YouTube video. The weather just doesn't act right when I want to make a workshop for this app. I use the same process of finding and dissecting a body of water for all those different situations. And I want to share with you, listen, there's millions of ways of breaking down the lake. There's millions of ways of learning how to catch fish. I just want to share with you how I do it. So I've got a vacation trip planned. I've got a tournament. A lot of times our year-end tournaments in our clubs, regional tournaments, are at a place we've never been before. Or maybe you just want to go visit a lake that you've never been to before. You hear these like Lake Fork, historically big fish. You've always heard about how good Lake Gunnersville is, and you want to go visit these places. Sounds so good when you look at it on paper and you get there and you realize how big these places are. What do I do next? Well, one of the first things that I do, very first things that I do before I even listen, all of these things that I'm about to talk to do, we're doing in our house. We're doing on our phones, tablets, computers, in our office. I'm not talking about what you're going to do when you get to the deck of the boat. Whole other conversation. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see what's available. When I looked up Lake Juliet, I wanted to know what species is in it. I got to know that. That matters. What's available? I wanted to know what the predominant structure was. Does it have grass? Does it have timber? Does it have docks? I want to know everything. I want to know what's available. What can I fish when I get there? Is it current? Is it docks? Is it timber? Is it grass? Is it just bait balls? Is it what do I have available? What am I going to be able to use when I get there? I also want to know the boundaries and the limits. Now, this doesn't apply on every place, but let's say a place like St. Lawrence River. I need to know where the Canadian water is and where the U.S. water is because, buddy, let me tell you, the Canadian, what do they call it, wildlife ministry, does not play. You need to know the boundaries and the limits. Can I box fish? Is it even the season for bass when I get there? Those are things that are important. Horsepower limits, wildlife refuges, Native American refuges, or reservations. You need to know all that stuff. I want to know the boundaries and limits. If you're just fishing home water, you probably already know that stuff and it doesn't apply to you. But if you do leave your state or have a vacation trip planned, you need to know that. I want to know what type of fishery it is. What I mean by that, dirty, clear, river, lake, swamp, river, natural lake, current, tidal. What is it? Like what does it identify as? I need to know those types of things. Very, very first step. And that's very simple. Step number two. Let's go to that second slide, Michael, or I guess it's technically the third one. We're going to look for what's familiar. So this is where recording and rehearsing, I know that's going to scare some people. Rehearsing your fishing trips mentally is a big deal. So let me explain it this way. I talked about we've talked about tournament fishing before. And you get if you're old OG members to the app, you remember me talking about debriefing. And it's very important for you to debrief the good days, and it's important for you to debrief the bad days. The reason I say that is because that's data that we can use for the next fishing trips, whether it's good, whether it's bad. So when I looked at Lake Juliet, if I was going to fish there, I would look for what's familiar, what's something that applies to my strengths. If you've rehearsed and you've thought about your fishing trips over time, if you've rehearsed them mentally, visualize what's happened, what's good, you had a good day on the water, what happened, what did it feel like, what was the weather like, what did you throw, what was your confidence, like what did you feel like? Those are usually your strengths. When you get a bite on a certain lure or you see a certain weather condition, you see a certain water clarity, you see a certain type of structure, and you get that gut feeling of like, oh, I cannot wait. I want to. You ever pull in a creek and you just want to fish every single square inch of that creek? That feeling that you get, remember that. Hold on to that. Those are your strengths. So when you go to a new place, you want to remember that. And you want to look for places that give you that feeling that you get when you go to that creek on your home lake. They give you that feeling when you had that good day, that bait that you had in your hand, wacky rigs, shaky heads, crankbaits,
top ploppers, whatever it is, chatterbait, with that feeling, you know what it is, that one lure that you geek out on. First thing I saw is there's a power plant there. So that tells me there's probably some type of warm water discharge because of the power plant. It's huge. It looks like that's literally what the lake is for. This lake is on, I think it's on the old Muggy River. So evidently they're using it for power. Listen, I haven't even read a single book. I haven't read anything on DNR site. Just looking at one aerial image tells me a couple of things that I got available to me. I got a power plant, which probably means I have a warm water discharge or some type of current discharge. I've got a river that looks like it has some stained water, which tells me there's some flow. So I know I have that available to me. I just did a Google search. This is literally, you can read it, showing results for what species are in Lake Juliet. I literally go to Google, what species are in Lake Juliet? And this is what pops up. Lake Juliet's in Georgia. It's home to many species of fish, including bass, largemouth bass. It has spotted bass, striped bass, hybrid bass. You can see there's a group of panfish, perch, has yellow perch, and catfish. Now, don't just read that and keep on moving. Don't just read, okay, it's got largemouth. I know I can go fish largemouth. No. You got to pull the covers back. Don't ever just read something like that and just let that be it. Of course, I know it's got largemouth in it. Spotted bass I didn't expect it to have spotted bass. That's good to know. There's no smallmouth. That's weird. All right. Then this thing with the perch got my attention. I know that perch are a little bit, you can't just throw a perch in Santee Cooper, a shallow lake that stays muddy. Perch need cooler water, deeper water, and need a pretty specific environment to live in. And I guarantee you the bass will probably eat them. That's a snackety snack. He's the Butterfingers of forage fish. Snickers bar. You know what I'm saying? He's the banana nut bread. He's a pastry of the forage fish. That's giving me some really, really solid information. Let's jump to that next slide, Mike. All right, so let's look at this one. When it comes to this next slide, I saw something on the aerial image that caught my eye. I probably should have ordered these a little different. But look at that. You see what I got the red arrow pointed to? Aquatic vegetation. Let's go. Hey, when you see for the people in the country like me, that means grass. They got some grass in the lake. Aquatic vegetation. And this was a Google search, and what came up, you can see what I typed in. What forage is in Lake Juliet? Listen, my son can do this. My 5-year-old can do this. Maybe not my 5-year-old. My 12-year-old can do this. I just typed in what forage fish. I came up with, it has a variety of forage, including aquatic vegetation, submerged branches, and grass. So there's some type of grass in this lake.
If you found this clip from Straight Up Fishing School helpful for you at all, I'd love to have you in the group of anglers that we have within our school. This is a great place for you guys to learn the best gear, the best places, the best techniques to help you catch more fish. Fishing actually isn't as hard as you may think it is. You just got to understand a few fundamental principles to help you catch more fish. Check the link in the description box of this video or the comment section. Click on it, join the group. Fishing is going to be a lot more fun when you understand the very simple truths that help you catch more fish.